So you're thinking about doing your first anabolic steroid cycle. Here is 5 things I want you to take into consideration whilst you're doing that. Yes guys, it's George from Borne Coaching. I'm going to take you through everything that I've learned over the last couple of years with being a steroid user myself. This video for me is all about providing education to you and providing you a bit of an insight regarding this, because there are so many people like, I can't wait to do my first cycle, I can't wait to blow up and get strong, I can't wait to do this, I can't wait to do that. But for me, there are many things that I've learned throughout this journey which have enabled me to do things the way that I've wanted to do them, which I believe is the right way. Now, everyone is very different. Everyone has different values, but this is what I value and this is what we value here at Borne Coaching. So I'm trying to provide you an insight with that. So let's get into it. Point number 1 is monitoring your blood pressure. This is a big one. We know that blood pressure is a silent killer in this fucking world, okay? And steroids, they hugely impact your cardiovascular health. So one simple thing that you should be doing that, to be honest with you, a lot of people don't. The amount of people that I've coached and people have come to me and they're using steroids and they're not even tracking their blood pressure. And I'm like, what are you doing? So I'd recommend go on Amazon, buy yourself a blood pressure monitor. It's going to cost you 15 quid. It's going to cost you no more than fucking that. Start doing it 2 to 3 times a week. Start doing it in the morning after you're hydrated without any sort of caffeine or any sort of stimulant. Start to track your blood pressure throughout the week, and then you can kind of get trends. You can kind of see where your blood pressure is going. If your blood pressure is going up, if it's going down, if it's staying the same, you can find that out. Now, the typical ranges I would recommend, okay, ideal is over 120, around 70, okay? That's ideal. Anything above that, so we're looking at high risk, I like to call this. Anything above 140 over 90, I would class you as a high risk. And that's something that you may need to look into further. So that is your starting point. Buy yourself a blood pressure monitor. It's fucking cheap and it will save your life. Point number 2, don't get ahead of yourself. I learned the hard way from this. So background story. I started using steroids after my 2022 competition prep, after finishing competing naturally. I then went on steroids. I then just went like this. And it was great. Like, I was progressing so quickly. I was getting so fucking strong. I was adding like 10, 15, 20 kilos to a lift every single week. Easy, light work with my eyes closed. I didn't even need to make effort. That's what steroids do. However, there's a big consequence for you doing that. We need to remember, a lot of people always say your muscles always grow quicker than your tendons and ligaments, but it's more so your muscles outgrow your tendons and ligaments. So when your muscles outgrow, and this is why we see so many young guys who start using steroids early and they get like a pec tear. Like, the amount of people that get pec tears in the bodybuilding industry because they're on gear and they're pushing way too quickly and the muscles just grow so quickly for more than their tendons and ligaments is ridiculous. When I was on my first ever cycle, I picked up the most injuries I've ever picked up in my life. I picked up elbow pain, knee pain, more pain than I've ever experienced, okay? And that could lead to, again, injuries that I'm having to deal with now permanently because I was stupid and I was pushing myself and I didn't care. I didn't care about listening to my body. I didn't care about what I was doing in that moment of time. I just wanted to get fucking strong, and I was just enjoying the progress because I worked so hard naturally for over God knows how many years, and I was seeing this progress. I was seeing like a 4 or 5 year progress in like the space of a couple of months. I was too ahead of myself. So here's a few tips that you can do within your own journey to manage your progressions. So first one is gradually increase your weights. I'm looking at my little page here because I've done a little post on this as well. So if you see me looking over here, I'm just referring to what I'm saying. So ideally, I recommend you gradually adding weight up over time. So around about 3 to 5% weight jumps each time. Don't do 20 kilos. Don't do 40 kilos. Don't just add crazy amounts on a small muscle group or an exercise, okay? Focus on the quality of your reps, okay? Focus on owning every rep that you do. Make the exercise as hard as it can be rather than easy, just so you can move more weight. Listening to your body. This is the mistake I made. If your joints are telling you, hi George, I'm fucked, do something about it. Don't just go, oh fuck it, I'm just gonna carry on, like most of us do. Please don't do that because it won't end well, I promise you that. And the last one is deload when needed. So typically I recommend to all my clients deloading around every 6 to 10 weeks, depending on their feedback, how they are feeling. If you are noticing you are battered, listen to your body. Don't just continue just pushing through and I'm just feeling this way and I'm just going to push through it. Make sure that you monitor that, okay? So that's my advice when it comes to point number 2. Don't get ahead of yourself because it'll fucking bite you in the ass. Point number 3 is getting your blood work done. Pre-cycle, mid-cycle, post-cycle. Everyone does it pre-cycle, but no fucker does it mid-cycle because they're scared to find out where the markers are gonna lie. They're scared to find out the red ones. They think they're gonna be dying, okay? I've been there myself. I'm fucking so nervous to get my blood work back because I don't want to see what's happening to my body. But this is where you hugely need to see it. So why do we want to get blood work pre-cycle? So this is going to give you an overall baseline and provide you with information as to whether you are actually ready to start using steroids. Okay, it's a big one for me because I see a lot of people, they just go, oh, I'm going to just start my cycle, and they never do blood work. Like, the amount of people come to me and say, I've never done blood work in my life and I'm doing this and I'm doing that. First of all, you don't know whether your body's in a good position to actually start doing it. So please, 100% blood work before, and this gives you a reference point for when you do decide to come off. You've got that reference point to actually look back at what you was doing pre-cycle as well. Okay, so these are all reference points to actually figure out what's going on. And when you do go on cycle, you can compare the difference between the two. So peak cycle, so when the drugs are fully in your system, about 4, maybe 6 weeks into your cycle, I would then revisit your blood work. The reason I would do it mid-cycle is to find out how your body is responding to these drugs. This often is neglected, hugely neglected, because people just don't want to find out. They just don't want to know what's happening. But a great sort of quote that I came up with here is that you wouldn't run a race car at full throttle without checking the engine. If you're willing to go 100% into your bodybuilding and make so much progress, you need to be looking after yourself. You need to be checking that engine before you put your foot down the accelerator. So again, it will allow us to see where we are at our highest vulnerability, where we are going to be with these drugs in our system. And then from there, you can actually see how we can manage that even moving forward, the changes that you might need to make your stack design, wherever it may be in that moment. And then post blood work as well. So ideally, after 4 to 6 weeks, it's critical to get your test done again to see whether your body is in an optimal position to recover from what you have done. So it's all great getting that progress, but if your body's not able to recover from that afterwards, that's a huge issue. And I always say a fresher physique is always going to be a responsive physique. Okay, so it's really important that you highlight that. So please, yes, it's expensive. Blood work, especially if you want to do it right, can vary between £150, £200, and that will cost you what, nearly 600 quid on just blood work. But please monitor it and look after yourself. Okay, point number 4, I think, is supplementation. Now, I am a huge one on supplements whilst using assistance. In my opinion, again, this is my opinion, this is my value. If you can't afford supplements, you should not be taking steroids in the first place. You just shouldn't. That's my values. If someone comes to me and say, hi George, I want to start my cycle, but I'm not willing to buy the supplement, I don't want to work with that person. That's not where my values lie. I want someone to go, George, what would you recommend doing in terms of this? And I'm going to do exactly that. Okay, cool. Those are my values. This is what I believe in. So I think you need to be taking it with you. I think you fucking know you should be taking your supplements, bruv. I know. And so many people don't do this either. As we know, steroids puts extra stress on your body, especially heart, liver, kidneys, and other systems, right? Common sense. So the health supplements are going to be ideally mitigating some of these negative effects that you are going to be experiencing whilst on cycle, and it will support your overall health and your performance. Okay, so it's really, really important, in my opinion, you look after your body. If you're going to do things if you're going to dive into the deep end with things, you damn well need to be looking after your body. Okay, 100%. If you're not willing to do that, don't take steroids. Just don't. If you're happy to spend your fucking 30 quid on your Vala test or whatever it may be, because that's how much it is. You know, that's the reality of it. You can buy a fucking underground lab test for £30. But I'm not willing to spend the £400, £500 on blood work throughout the cycle. I'm not willing to spend £300, £400 on supplements each month. Don't be taking steroids, because you'll just put yourself into the ground. That's my values, okay? I think I want to really highlight that, because there are so many people that just don't do it and they just don't care, and I do care. It's just my values, just my belief. So please, one thing that I would 100% recommend you doing is, before you do anything, use supplements. And funny enough, you can support this video, you can support the channel by going in the links below. Go on to Supplement Needs. They sell the liver stack, the kidney stack, the heart stack. Super important supplement that I take during my cycle. Yes, it's 124 quid, but if you use our code, you get 10% off and you'll save yourself fucking 12 quid. You're gonna be looking after your health and hopefully mitigating some of these issues that you could be dealing with whilst being on cycle. So those are 4 key things to take into consideration. Now, I will do a part 2 of this video, okay, to dive into a little bit more of other details from my experience as well. These are 4 things I want you to take into consideration whilst on your first cycle. Number 1, blood pressure. Number 2, don't get ahead of yourself. Number 3, your blood work. Number 4, supplementation, okay? I hope you've enjoyed today's video. I'm hoping you've got something from it. If you have, make sure you drop a like. Let us know in the comments your thoughts. Have a discussion. If you want to see more of these, please let me know in the comments and I will do that for you. Have a good one, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Stay fucking safe, okay? Stay safe. Don't be a dickhead and do anything stupid, okay?